Hello students, welcome to Young Cubs. Today is the third session on properties of materials. Till now we have finished talking about the structure of an atom, the atomic number and the placement of electrons as per their orbits or shells. We've spoken about the formula of 2n square and accordingly listed down the elements with their electronic configurations. Moreover, we've done about the periodic table and the groups. Yes, children, while talking about the periodic table and the groups, we spoke that the groups are the vertically arranged. This one, the vertically arranged metals. This part, the vertical ones, are known as groups, and in case if they are arranged horizontally, they are periods. While mentioning about groups, that the group 1 elements have 1 electron in the outermost shell, group 2 elements have 2 electrons in the outermost shell, I forgot to mention what do periods signify. Periods basically signify the number of shells in an atom. So this is period 1, this is period 2, period 3, period 4, and so on. They are around 7 to 8. Okay, so period 2 signifies that these elements, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon will have 2 shells around the nucleus. Sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon will have 3 shells. 3 shells in their atoms. So this is the K shell, L shell. They will have K, L, M. These will have K, L, M and N. Yes, children. Okay. So to understand the differentiation between groups and periods, let me show you a table here. So we have a differentiation table between periods and groups. Yes. So location of periods. Periods are horizontal rows on the periodic table, whereas groups are vertical columns on the periodic table. Number. There are 7 periods on the periodic table, whereas there are 18 groups on the periodic table. Remember, I told you about the transition metals and so on. So there are 18 groups and 7 periods. Okay, electronegativity increases from left to right. That means the negative charge increases as you move. The negative electrons increase when you move from the left hand side of the table to the right hand side of the table. So, children, lithium has only 1 electron in its outermost shell. However, if you move across towards the right of the table, we have 7 electrons in the outermost shell, or for that matter 8 electrons as well in the outermost shell, making them inert. Then the characteristics. Okay, elements within the same period have the same electronic configuration. That means the number of shells will be the same if you move horizontally in a particular period. Elements within the same group have the chemical or physical properties, have the same chemical or physical properties. Children, very important. First thing first, they are all metals. They have the same number of valence electrons. All of them have group 1. In group 1, all of them have one valent electron. Group 2 elements, all of them have two valent electrons. All right. This is the differentiation between groups and periods if they ask you a question like that in the exam. Okay, this is how you can make a note of it. All this while, children, we have been speaking a lot about atomic number and atomic mass number as well. Atomic number being the number of protons and atomic mass number being the total number of protons and neutrons. So let's look at a differentiation table for that as well. So atomic mass is associated with the number of neutrons and protons that are present in a particular nucleus of an element, whereas atomic number is usually the number of protons only. This is both neutrons and protons, and atomic number is only protons present in the element's nucleus. It is the average, atomic mass is the average weight of an element. It is the total number of protons in the atom's nucleus, just the same, only the number of protons. Atomic mass is denoted by A. The letter Z is used to represent an atomic number. Atomic mass cannot be used to define the element. Why? Because it has variations, it has its isotopes. Atomic number mainly helps in the classification and identification of elements. Alright, children. Then yesterday I also explained how the periodic table can divide or can give us a clear idea of metals and non-metals. Those that donate their electrons are metals, and those that accept electrons are non-metals. Metals are positive, they can form positive ions called cations. Non-metals can form negative ions, which are called as anions. So let's look at a differentiation table of that as well. Here you go. So metals, okay, in terms of heat resistance, high melting and boiling point, okay, and non-metals, low melting and boiling point. They easily melt, whereas metals don't melt easily. They require higher temperatures. Okay, conductivity, high thermal. Thermal means good conductor of heat and electricity. Yes, whereas non-metals, low thermal and electrical conductivity. That means metals are good conductors of heat and electricity, whereas non-metals are good insulators. Yes, hardness. Metals are hard and durable material, whereas non-metals are soft and they easily crumble. They are brittle. Okay, luster. Metals are shiny, reflective appearance, and whereas non-metals are dull, rough, non-reflective. Going to density, they are dense. What does density mean? Density means, children, in a unit area, maximum number of particles can be fit in. Whereas that means more number of particles in a unit area, that means more dense, and it's a proper solid structure, hard structure. Whereas non-metals have low density, not too many particles in a unit area. Coming to physical form, they are solid at room temperature except mercury. Mercury, chemical symbol Hg. Okay, whereas non-metals are found in solid state, liquid state or gaseous state at room temperature. Coming to ionization, they tend to lose electrons. Yes, they are willing to give away their electrons and form a positive ion. Positive ion, cation. Yes, whereas they tend to gain electrons and create negative ions. Negative ions called anions. Yes, children. So all what we've learned yesterday, this table is a summary and a recap of what we did yesterday. Children, yesterday we also spoke about alkali metals and alkali earth metals. Here, alkali metals all in group 1, alkali earth metals we spoke of. Okay, let me put that, or let me bring forth that to you in the form of a table again. Here you go. Alkali metals are soft, alkali earth metals are hard. Comparatively, metals are normally not soft, but compared to each other, alkali metals are softer. Alkali metals have a single electron in their valence shell, and their electronic configuration is outer shell. Okay, and their electronic configuration is NS1. I don't think you need to know this. We'll cancel this part. Okay, whereas alkali earth metals, they have how many? 2 electrons in the valence shell, and their electronic configuration is how much? Okay, we need not know that. Okay, alright, they have 2 electrons in their outermost shell. Then they have low melting point as compared to alkali earth metals. Okay, so alkali earth metals are comparatively stronger and harder and have relatively high melting points. So alkali metals make strong hydroxides and thus strong bases, whereas the hydroxide, that means when they combine with water. Hydroxide means when any metal is combined with water. Okay, they make strong bases. Okay, whereas alkali earth metals do not make such strong bases. Alright, hope this much is understood. So children, that's not all that you need to know about this chapter. We have to know about our group 1 metals, group 2 elements, group 7 and group 8 metals group 7 and group 8 elements in detail. So here we go about it. So this is what I have spoken about already, that group 1 metals are known as alkali metals. Yes, we've spoken about this. The elements have similar chemical properties. All of them in group 1 are real good and hard. They all form very strong bases once combined with hydroxide. They are all lustrous, they are all sonorous, and so comparatively their melting point and boiling point apparently is lower as compared to the alkali earth metals. And so what it says, the elements have similar chemical properties and show gradual change in physical properties down the group. So the first one we have lithium, then sodium, then potassium. This is all that you need to know. However, there are more in the group 1 elements, which is rubidium, caesium and francium. So as you go down, so down the group, as you go down the group, okay, physical properties change. Okay, we will learn about them. So that means, this one, potassium, apparently can easily be cut by a knife. Sodium is a little harder than potassium, and lithium apparently is the hardest. So the properties change, the physical one, hardness and all that change as you go down. Okay, furthermore, okay, they are soft and can be cut easily with a knife, exist as silvery shiny solids at room temperature, okay, except for mercury. Okay, they are good conductors of heat and electricity. We read that in the differentiation table as well. Then they have low melting point and boiling points. Okay, as compared to alkali earth metals. Okay, but not as compared to the non-metals. When you compare it with non-metals, they have a relatively higher melting and boiling point. But as compared to alkali earth metals or group 2 metals, they have a lower melting and a boiling point. They have a lower density also as compared to group 2 elements, and they need to be stored under oil because they are highly reactive. What makes them highly reactive? Their willingness to just throw away or give away their electron, the electron in the outermost shell. They just have one. Go away, we don't want you. So therefore, the throwing it away, that means reactivity is really high, and because of which they have to be stored under oil, in oil. Okay. Compared to other metals, alkali metals have a lower melting point and boiling point. As they are highly reactive, they are usually stored under oil. Okay. Then what about the physical trends down the group? Now reactivity increases. We know, if you've learned the reactivity series in 7th grade, we know that potassium is the most reactive of all the elements. So when you go down, actually francium is the most reactive. But since we are studying only first 20 elements, we are not studying rubidium, caesium and francium. As of now, you have to know that potassium is the most reactive, then sodium, then lithium. Okay, down the group. Then the melting and boiling point also decreases down the group. So lithium will boil at a higher temperature as compared to potassium, easily boiled. Okay, the density increases. So potassium is denser than lithium. Alright children, so here we are, just a small table of melting point, boiling point and density. So lithium is 180, sodium is lesser, it boils just below, so it's 98. Potassium boils at potassium melts at 63 degrees. So sodium melts, but that means from solid it becomes liquid at 63. You have to heat it up. Okay, and rubidium almost at room temperature. Room temperature is considered between 26 and 30 degrees. So somewhere near room temperature. Boiling point, lithium has the highest boiling point. So look at the trend children. With this table as well, you can note down and give a general characteristic of group 1 on physical properties. Okay, so lithium has the highest melting point as compared to rubidium. lithium has the highest boiling point as compared to rubidium again. Then the density of lithium is lesser as compared to rubidium. So you can say that as the number of shells increases, okay, so this is in the first period, and this is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. This is in the sixth period. So it has 6 shells. So comparatively, the last shell has more electrons and hence more dense. It is a more dense element. Alright children, understand the trends. So again a little larger version with a few more additions. So lithium has 3 as an atomic number, that means 3 protons and 3 electrons. Mass number 7. So how many neutrons? 4 neutrons. Melting point 180, boiling point 1360. Here you go. Sodium 11, 23 mass number. That means number of neutrons 12. Here number of neutrons 20. Here melting point decreases. Lithium has the highest melting point. And here boiling point also decreases as per the trend. As you can see, the atomic number increases as you go down. First point. The mass number also increases as you go down. These increasing numbers tell you that the size of the atom is increasing as you go down. When you look at the melting point, you can see that they go down as of the melting point decreases or reduces as you go down. The next element down in the group is the metal rubidium. We can predict it would have a melting point and it would be lower than 63 degrees. Yes, we've seen that. It has 39. Remember? Yes. Understood this much, children? Here, let's see how their atom looks diagrammatically. Okay? Alright. So, lithium, third in the periodic table. So, it has 1, 2 and 3 electrons. Sodium, in the group 1 elements, it is 11th in position. Yes, 11th. So, it has 11 electrons as well. First shell, K shell, it has 2. Next shell, it will have 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in the L shell and 1. So 11. That's how you place it. And potassium, which is 19. Okay. 2 in the first K shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in the next shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in the next shell again and 1 outside. So what period does lithium lie in? It lies in period 2 because it has 2 shells. Here 1 K L M, it has 3 shells, so a period 3, and it has K L M N 4 periods, so it is period 4. Yes, children, hope you understand all this. Let's answer a few questions. Where in the periodic table do you find the metals? We find them Where do we find the metals? We find it on the left hand side of the periodic table. What is the trend in the boiling points of group 1 elements? Here, take a look. Boiling point. The boiling point decreases. The boiling point decreases. Yes. Then what prediction can you make about the boiling point of rubidium? Here we have rubidium boiling point of rubidium will also reduce. It will decrease further. Okay, or rather than decrease, I'll write lower further. Okay, here also instead of decrease I will write lower. How many more electrons than lithium does sodium have? Sodium has 11, lithium has 3. So 11 minus 3, how much? 8. Yes, how many more electrons? It has 8 more electrons. Okay, what happens to the size of the atom as you go down? The size of the atom becomes bigger, or it becomes bigger. Okay, what similarity is there in the structure of these atoms? Look at the electronic shell arrangement, and what similarity is that? They all have one electron in their valence shell. Yes, that's all that I can find as a difference. Okay, what was one as a similarity? Sorry. Suggest why this group of metals is called group 1, because they have one electron in valence shell. Same answer. What are the trends in the structure and behavior of elements in manner? They are highly reactive. Okay, that's the behavior. And what about the structure? The structure, they're willing to give away, or one electron in outermost shell. Hence, they are highly reactive. Hope you understand this much, children. Now, let's study group 2 elements, which are your alkali earth metals. So, what are they? Group 2 elements: beryllium, magnesium, calcium. This is all you need to know. And then we have strontium, barium, and radium. This, when you come in the 9th and 10th grade, you learn about them, but right now, just these 3. Okay, alkali earth metals are elements in group 2. Alkali earth metal properties. Okay, group contains metals. Why are they called metals? Because they are willing to donate. They are willing to give away. How many? 2 electrons. So 2 electrons, group 2. Okay. Then very reactive. Less reactive as compared to alkali metals. Okay. But yes, they are still very reactive, but less reactive than alkali metal. Color of silver, high densities than alkali metals. Yes, they have more number of particles, more number of protons, more number of electrons as compared to their previous ones, the group 1 elements. Okay, hence they are more dense, or they have higher densities. Alright, hope this much is clear. Now, structure of group 2 elements. Children, we just did here, I had done one for you. Now, I want you to do this for homework, or rather do it right now for me. I want you to draw these similar structures for group 2 elements, specifically for beryllium, magnesium and calcium. Come on, please start. Here, children, here is my structure. These are my structures of group 2 elements, which are beryllium, magnesium and calcium. So in beryllium we have 4 protons, so that's how 4 electrons. Okay, here we have 12 protons, so we have 2, 4, 6 out here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, then we have 20 protons here, so 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 out here, 8 plus 4, 12, 16 and 20 out here. Come on, let's count the periods. So period, so since it has 2 shells, it will be in period 2. It has 1, 2, 3 K, L, M, 3 shells, so period 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 shells, so period 4. Hope it was easy. Let's go to halogens now, children. Okay, halogens are your group 7 elements. Okay, so what are the 4 halogens? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. That means they have 7 electrons in their outermost shell. Okay, now you don't have bromine and iodine this year. However, in biology you may read a lot about iodine in terms of photosynthesis and starch detection and all that. But however, when in chemistry, their chemical and physical properties, okay, bromine and iodine will not be asked for this year. Okay, only first 20 elements. So the symbol of fluorine is symbol of fluorine is F. However, their chemical formula, as in 2 fluorine atoms, when they combine with each other, see, the fluorine atoms cannot exist freely in the environment. So when 2 fluorine atoms combine with each other, okay, bond with each other, only then can it exist freely in nature. Otherwise, it is again quite highly reactive. So the formula for fluorine is F2, for chlorine is Cl2, bromine is Br2, and iodine is I2. Okay, what color is fluorine? Fluorine basically is a gas, and it is a pale yellow gas. Remember, I had mentioned that halogens get their names, the group 7 elements get their name as halogens because they are quite colorful. Okay, so fluorine is pale yellow, chlorine is green. It is a gas as well, and it is green. Bromine is a liquid, is found in liquid state. Remember, non-metals can be found as solids, liquid and gases. So group 7 elements, since they accept an electron, they are non-metals. Yes, children. So bromine is a liquid and it is reddish brown in color, and iodine is a solid which is gray in color. Let's take a look at their melting point. Check this out, children. They melt okay, at minus 220 degrees. That means, okay, they are, yeah, so it's basically that lower temperature makes them liquid already. That lower temperature of minus 101 makes chlorine a liquid. Bromine is liquid at minus 7, okay, or below minus 7 also, okay, and iodine apparently turns into liquid when you heat it up 214 degrees, okay, then it turns into a liquid. Okay, look at its boiling point. At minus 188 degrees it boils. So by the time it reaches 0 degrees, it is still a gas only. Okay, chlorine, its boiling point is minus 35. Bromine boils at 59 degrees. So imagine, even it is lower than even alcohol. Alcohol boils at 78 degrees. Okay, bromine boils at 59, but iodine, however, boils at 184 degrees Celsius. Okay. Let's answer a few questions about the structure of halogens. Children, for homework, please make the structure of halogens. Only for fluorine and chlorine, just 2 atoms. Okay. Are the halogens metals or non-metals? They are non-metals. Just specified it here. Okay. What is the trend in melting points in group 7? Tell me, children. Melting point increases. It increases. Yes, what is the trend in color? They are colorful. Yes. And what is the trend in the boiling point? What is the trend in the boiling point, children? That also increases. What would you predict about the boiling point and melting point of iodine, the next element in group 7? So I've already mentioned it. So for iodine, the boiling and the, so if this here is increasing while it's going down, it is increasing. So for iodine and bromine also it is increasing. Yes. Yeah. So children, let's just compare group 7 elements to group 1 elements. Group 1 elements are metals, alkali metals, which accept 1 electron or which donate 1 electron. So if the melting point increases in halogens, what is happening? What is happening in terms of boiling point? Here, look at it. It is decreasing. Boiling point and melting point are decreasing. So if you look at this, see, the boiling point here is decreasing, and here, where are we? Here it is increasing. So exactly opposite, children. Study it that way as well as an overall periodic table as well. Okay, would you expect iodine to be more or less reactive than bromine? Obviously less reactive. Yes. Okay, it is going to be less reactive. It's a solid structure. Gases react faster. Yes. So if you look at lithium, sodium and potassium, here we have fluorine, chlorine, bromine. This is so they are opposite. These are metals, these are non-metals. So if this is the most reactive, obviously opposite, totally opposite. So this will be most reactive, children. Okay. So bromine, the electronic configuration of bromine is missing from the table. How many electrons do you predict will be in the outer shell? So we know all outer shell electrons of group 7 elements will be 7. Okay, what happens to the size of the atom as you go down the cell? Of course, it will increase. Doesn't matter if it's a metal or a non-metal. The lower it goes, the number of periods keep adding on. Sorry, the number of shells keep adding on, and the cell and the atom becomes bigger. What happens to the it? Go down. It becomes bigger. Let me write bigger instead of increases. Bigger. Yes, what similarity is there in the structure of these atoms? In these atoms, outermost shell or the valence shell has 7 electrons. Okay, children. Suggest why this group is called group 7, because valence shell has 7 electrons. Study these 3 groups, children, until we have the next lecture. Okay, so the next lecture will be on noble gases. Okay. Till then, study this thoroughly, and that's all for today. Thank you, and God bless you all.